Belinda, it is more than a pleasure to have you. And I'm so glad that our stars have aligned because we've been trying to do this for months, not weeks, but months. So I'm so glad that our schedule aligned and we didn't face any technology problems as well.
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been 350 years. the amount of like rescheduled times we were supposed to do a podcast, it never happened.
Yeah.
And just like the whole technology that's been happening with my AirPods not connecting.
Yeah. But I'm glad
we're on.
We're all
happening.
We're finally over here. So a warm welcome to the Proof of Work podcast. I know that when I thought about starting it, you were one of the first individuals that I was like, your story inspires me. And your story is very rare, especially from an Australian context. So I was like, I need to have Belinda in the podcast because this is the Proof of Work podcast. And the work that you've done throughout your life, even as a young kid, is something that needs to be talked about and spread across not only to Australia, but towards the audience that I have within US and India as well. It's an inspirational story.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're doing this. So thanks again, Belinda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
That's amazing. So you went from experiencing homelessness as a child, and that is something that we do not necessarily talk about in Australia, especially the problem of homelessness. So you went from experiencing that, and now you are a successful founder, leader in corporate Australia. How did those early experiences shape your grit and determination?
Yeah, so like I don't remember me being homeless, to be really honest with you. I was so young. I think I was like a newborn. Yeah. So my mom, was engaged to my father, and they pre-planned me pretty much. Like they planned to have me. They were supposed to get married. My mom was 17 turning 18 years old, and my dad pretty much said, I'm not ready to be a father, rocked up to the hospital and basically said to my mother, I'm not ready to have this child, so you need to either choose me or the baby. Which is it? So my mother obviously chose me. And then my dad had left. My mom didn't realize the situation scenario. She didn't even think he would do that. He left and never heard from him again, basically. I think like a couple times she heard from him, but not really. Then my mom was obviously, didn't have much help from family back then. So she was 17 years old. She didn't know what to do. She had like no money. She didn't know what she was like, where she's going to live, how she's going to feed me and herself. So she put herself into, I think it's like a shelter home for mums that have newborns, which is what we call it here in Australia. I don't necessarily know the name now. Single mums that don't have shelters or, food to eat or help, their children and things like that. You can go into these shelters here in Australia. So my mom was living there for, I think, just under a year.
Yeah.
And then she obviously reached out to family. And then she lived with my grandparents for a while. Yeah. So it was like, I think it was maybe a little bit more than a year. I don't really know for sure. My mom kind of hides that from me.
Yeah.
So she struggled a lot though as a single mom.
She must be so proud of you, of what you've become.
Oh my God, extremely.
Yeah.
Like if you look at her screen, her phone screen saver, it's like on my face. It's hilarious. So cute.
She's your biggest cheerleader, but is she your biggest critic as well?
Yeah, like my mom knows me, I'm my biggest critic, that's for sure. But yeah, she's both. Like she keeps me humble, she keeps me focused, she keeps me grounded because, like success is great. People I surround myself with are amazing, next level amazing.
Yes.
And sometimes you can get so caught up in this life, you would know this.
Yeah.
And it's always good to see the family and speak to mom, and it's like, oh my God, holy shit, this is who I really am. Like, Belinda, calm down.
I'm totally.
This is where I actually grew up.
I'm totally with you. For the outside world, I could be this NYU Stern MBA and an author of a book, an investor. But when I come back at home, be with my mom, I'm a kid still. Like, I'm a kid because it makes me feel like I'm a kid. You're not doing this thing right. You're not doing this. So I think it's good that you have this, force around that keeps you humble and grounded. Because if you get into that bubble territory, when you get success into your head, and I've seen it firsthand with other people as well, it becomes a downward spiral sooner than later.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
And
We can get so caught up.
Exactly. And I just need to give a shout out.
Yeah.
Belinda is definitely, hands down, one of the most humble and modest, despite all the success that she's achieved, humble and modest achievers in Australia for sure.
Oh, that's great.
So now moving back to something that you did in teenage age that you've spoken about, you used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door.
Heavy vacuum cleaners. Yeah.
Walk me through your toughest day trying to sell vacuums door to door at the age of 17. What kept you going?
Oh my God, like I swear by it, I tell everyone, if you could ever do any job, just door knock. Go and sell a product and door knock on people's homes and sell a product, because I learned so much in that job.
Yeah.
Like my resilience, my grit, like I kept falling down. Like literally knocking on people's homes, invading their privacy. Can you imagine these people, slamming the door in front of my face, like, go away, who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you on my doorstep trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner? It was like so insane. I still can't believe I did that. But I am so grateful I did, because I learned so much.
Yeah.
I think there were like $3,500 back then for a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And every sale I had done I was getting $700 out of that.
Yeah.
So that's what kept me going.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to sell these. If I sell like 5 of these vacuum cleaners, I'm going to get so much money. And I'm going to keep going and going and going. So I was just door knocking. I couldn't stop. I think I was door knocking from like 7 a.m. till the dark. Like the clouds were coming. Yeah. Because I was so motivated. I was like, I really need to do this, because, I didn't have money.
Yes.
My mom didn't really have money. And I was like, I need to live. I need to eat. I need to survive. So I think it was like 16 turning 17 when I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that not many people know about this, because when I did my undergrad in Griffith University in Brisbane, and during my first year, of course, like now I'm out of home, I'm starting uni, so I need to, have that pocket money and all that as well. So for 2 months, I also did the door-to-door sales. I did it for Telstra, and I love it. I totally agree with you that it's one of the most toughest and thankless jobs. And I can understand why, when you knock somebody's door out of the blue and you ask them that, we are selling you this, they act in most cases not politely. You can understand that, because like you said, you're invading their privacy. They must be watching something, and suddenly a bell rings and you're selling Telstra or you're selling vacuum cleaner to them. But as an individual who does that, you just gain so much of resilience and the ability to face rejection, which is so important, especially in the current environment where youngsters just get instant gratification through social media.
Yeah.
So it's so important to experience that. And I think for both you and I, those early experiences really shaped us into what we have become now.
Totally. I'm so grateful for that job.
Yeah.
So grateful.
Now,
I should go back.
It will make for a good reality TV show episode. Maybe we should talk to Channel 9.
We should.
Yeah. So now we've covered like from 0 to the age of 17 when you did all this. What were your biggest challenges now that you faced when you started your own company in your 20s?
Oh my God, like I had zero understanding of the fundamental of a business.
Yeah.
So I made money and I spent money.
Yeah.
So I thought the money was mine, right? I'm like, oh my God, I made all this money. I'm just going to go to New York, get first class tickets, get 5-star hotels. Yeah. Buy expensive designer shoes, and I had no idea. Like I had no idea what I was doing until I met my business partner, Amjad. Funny enough, like all my business partners are Indian. It's hilarious. Amjad was my first business partner. My second business partner was Indian. My current business partner is Indian, Prashad. Yeah. So funny.
You made great business partners.
Yeah, you do. You guys are so smart. Tech. That's why I love you.
Yeah.
So he was my business partner. He basically poached me and said, come work for me in my company. I really want to bring you on board. Let's create something really amazing together. And I basically said, no. I said, I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. It's not for me. Yeah. How about we do something together? And then he said, sure, let's do it. Then we became business partners pretty much like that week.
Wow.
And then we created an agency in the e-learning space, which basically we enabled, I guess, was upskilling for corporate companies. So employees that wanted to upskill. We had accreditation courses. We were basically like an RTO, which is called a registered training organization here in Australia. And we were funded fully by the government. So the courses were ranging from like $10,000 to like $50,000. Every student that signed up pretty much got it fully funded and they could pay it back. And the company, which was our company, was getting like 85% of that.
Wow.
And then, so as you can imagine, we were doing like, per CCA, which is like a call center career advisor. We were doing around 7 to 12 signups a day.
Wow.
And we had 25 of those. And then we grew over to the Philippines. And then we just expanded. Then we opened up the RTO on Sussex Street. And it just kind of went wild. And then the government came in with a legislation and basically said, hey guys, we're no longer offering funding anymore for courses. So you need to figure out what you're going to do. And then I pulled out quite early and I said, look, this is just not going to work for me. So I ended up leaving. And then ended up closing the business, I think, a year and a half later.
Got it. So
something like that. Yeah.
Like a smart move to exit early.
I had to, because I seen it coming. Because I mean, a lot of people try to save it and try to do fee for service where the student would pay. I just never seen that as a thing. I was like, this is just not going to work. Like, students don't have money.
So look, just on that. I've worked in wealth management. Most of my corporate career in Australia has been within wealth management. And once the Royal Commission, the Haynes Royal Commission hit, at that time I was working for National Australia Bank. And, compliance cost went through the roof for registered investment advisors, financial advisors in Australia. People were just not willing to pay the high fee for service despite being high net worth individuals. So I totally agree with you. If that is happening towards the high net worth clientele, that we saw a reduction in the market for those fee for services, then for students, course, students don't have money. And if they have money, they're going to spend it on beers on Friday.
Totally. They just didn't have bank. So I just decided to leave. That quite early on. I was quite sad because it was such a successful business. Like, it was so profitable. But I mean, it was a short-lived moment.
But having said that, you have reinvented yourself and your career many times. That might be the start of it. But you have done it many times. I'm curious more to know about, from where do you get the courage and the motivation to make these steps? Because changing your career a lot of times is people get comfortable, and you have been successful in most of your entrepreneurial and business partnerships. So for you to continuously reinvent yourself, where do you get that courage?
I think it's a mindset of, I have nothing to lose. And if I don't ask, I'm never going to know. And if I don't try, I'll never know what could have been. So I think my mindset's always been like that. I'm the girl, when we go to a restaurant, like, sometimes people get awkward around me because of the way that I am. So for example, if I go to a restaurant and somebody sits me down, not with a view or not a nice table, I'll get up and ask the chef or the waitress, and explain, hey, like, I traveled so far away. I'm all the way from Australia. I'm in Sicily. I would really love a view, a table by the water. If you can please organize it. Usually they're like, oh, we're sorry, we're so booked out. We can't,
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, please, if you can, like, all the way from Australia, it would be incredible. And obviously, 5-15 minutes later, they're like, we've got a table for you. So I'm the type of person where I love to ask. If I don't ask, I'm never going to know, and I'll end up in the table with no view.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like that mentality, right? It's, you have to ask if you want. And if it's a no, and if they can't get you the table, or if they can't do that thing for you, then that's fine too. You know, it's just a learning curve for you. But you should always ask. And I think that's just always been something embedded into me from a very early age. And I think with that, it just comes with confidence, because if you get a lot of yeses, you're just like, oh, they'll say yes eventually, or they'll come back to me eventually.
I look totally with you. So since I've come to India, I teach crypto entrepreneurship to MBA students at business schools in India.
I've seen.
I tell them while they're in the classroom as well that it's your duty, because you're paying money to learn these things. It's your duty to ask questions, no matter how much stupid you think it is. And firstly, there are no questions that are stupid questions. So you need to ask. And just on a funny note, what you said, it's so funny, but people are very nice to Australians when you go overseas.
Are
That's
they?
what I've noticed. At least in America, that's what I had experienced. Because when I was there,
Americans love Aussies.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was there, and there was, for example, New York is always crowded. This is pre-pandemic, by the way. So like New York City was always crowded. So like, for example, if we wanted to get good seats for the New York Knicks game, and I use the same line. I'm all the way from down under Australia, and they're like, man, this guy took a very long trip. Give me really nice seats.
Yeah.
So it's so true. Firstly, you got to ask, and I think I think we've got it nice that because we live in such an isolated part of the world that if you travel so far away, people are generally nice because they see you with curiosity as, oh my God. Firstly, we are so less populated. Like there are not many Australians. There are not many Australians. And then when we go out, they're like, oh, we've heard about you. I bet you have some funny stories as well. And I'm keen to hear what other people think. But the funniest thing that I heard from someone when I went to NYU is that, oh, we've heard there are a lot of kangaroos in Australia. Are they like on the roads as well? I'm like, no, they're not on roads and stuff. What are you talking about? It's like a proper city, like New York City.
So funny. No, Americans are hilarious. They're like, how do you live there? I'm so scared. Like, I'm going to get eaten by a shark, or like, I'm going to get poisoned by your spiders. And I'm like, dude, like, there's not many shark attacks in Australia. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know snake bites as well. A very common thing.
Yeah, they're so scared.
Now, I've noticed you're a big advocate for fitness, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm keen to know because a lot of people do not pay attention to it, staying fit and eating healthy and mental health as well. And you often talk about those aspects of life. How important is that in your success?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like, if you ain't healthy, you're not going to look good. And if you don't look good, you're not going to feel good. If you don't feel good, then everything kind of falls to shit, right? So I think, people always, I guess now, more so than ever, look at me and like, oh, why is she always like posting herself online about she's at Pilates or she's at the gym or she's like doing this thing or whatever. And, they obviously see that as like a bit materialistic or into myself in somewhat way. But I think for me, it's like, I look good. I'm like, why am I not allowed to post to myself? Like, why can I not feel good about myself and share it with other people to be motivated to go to the gym? Like, and I literally write sometimes on my stories, this is a reminder to go to the gym today.
Got it.
Go to the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super important. As soon as I stop training, I mentally clock out. I get bloated. Just become a whole different person energetically. I just get demotivated. I don't want to do anything. I just become this like lazy individual that I don't know. As soon as I train, it's like, oh my God, my whole life is just like, I'm a completely a motivated individual.
Yes.
And I think, in saying that, training is important, but I just want to be mindful. I am mostly vegan. Well, I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat meat or anything like that. So I just eat like lots of tofu, lots of veggies, sometimes egg, and sometimes fish. I don't eat like chicken or lamb or anything like that. So I think that plays a really big part in my I guess, diet and lifestyle, because I'm believe in energy a lot.
Got it.
And I believe what I consume is who I am. And if I choose to consume chicken, lamb, all these types of animals, I truly believe I change as a person energetically. So I think that's really important, is what you put in your mouth more so than training.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, do you have any advice for me? Because honestly, I do want to move to plant-based diet, but
you should.
Non-vegetarian for like throughout my life. And so I struggle moving to a plant-based diet. Like I remember when the pandemic hit in 2020, I was in New York at that time. And
oh my God, the worst place to go plant-based.
I then used the opportunity to move into a plant-based diet because there were no restaurants open. I was like, okay, I'll go to Trader Joe's, get some pasta, cheese, and all that, and just, have vegetarian, not vegan, but vegetarian diet. And I struggled. Those were one of the worst times. And it actually was that time that I wrote my book because I just wanted to channel my energy into something productive because I was just annoyed with the environment at that time. So actually, what are your real actual advice for somebody who wants to transition into a plant-based diet, but because of habits, just can't do it?
I mean, I think a lot of it is excuse and a lot of it is having access to amazing food, right?
Yeah.
Because like there is amazing food everywhere. And especially when you go to restaurants with friends, you're like, everyone's having a steak or like something really yummy. And you're just like, why am I eating this tofu and this rice and this veg? So I think it's a bit of that. It's like lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think for me, I eat a lot of bowls. So I literally just like eat a bit of rice, a bit of salad, sometimes tuna, sometimes fish, a little bit of tofu, a little bit of veg. And I just literally whack on like olive oil, salt, and tahini sauce. And I just like, that's my meal. And it's so healthy. It's so delicious and it's so fulfilling. And I live on like protein shakes, protein bars, lots of fruit, boiled eggs. Like I pretty much eat everything. I mean, I don't suffer from not eating meat. I mean, I love my food. I love my diet. I think it's great.
Cool. Okay, so it's all about not giving yourself an excuse and just go ahead and have good plant-based diet. Cool.
It's control. It's like we have so much access to other things. It's like, you know, it's all about control. Like you have to have control, self-discipline.
So in this podcast, I'm got a lesson from Professor Belinda. I'm going to exercise more control, move into a plant-based diet. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, you often speak about...
At least for 30 days.
At least for 30 days. Oh, yeah. It's like... What is that saying? 30 consecutive days, you change or break a habit. In 90 days, it becomes your lifestyle. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it for 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just stopped.
Now, you referenced living in your male energy earlier in your career, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? And how did you balance embracing your masculine and feminine energies?
This is like such a hot topic. I don't know if you know, but it's like everywhere right now. And it's like the most question I get asked on my social media.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like nobody cares about anything else. I just want to know that.
But I think it's important as well because, you know, you are an inspiration to a lot of, I don't like to use the word female entrepreneurs or women entrepreneurs because I also believe that one shouldn't differentiate. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur, but I also understand that it's important to highlight a female entrepreneur using that terminology because we want more female entrepreneurs. It's so that's why I guess it's a hot topic as well. And you're an inspiration.
It's such a hot topic.
Would love to know that.
So I guess like what I mean by that is masculine energy for me is literally the opposite of a female, like feminine energy. So I mean, I really didn't have a choice. So I had to be in my masculine energy from a very young age because I had to survive, right? I had to put food on the table. I had to put a roof over my head.
Yeah.
I had to have money in my pocket. I didn't have anybody to rely on or fall on.
Understood.
And I think in most cases, women do. They have a father or they have a partner or they have, you know, family to fall on. In my case, I didn't. So I had no choice but to be in my masculine energy.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't in my masculine energy, I probably wouldn't be as successful as I am today because men rule the world, men run the world, and men are the most successful. And that's just a fact and it's a given. So I think, you know, I was very masculine. Now I would say I'm 50-50, a bit more feminine than I used to be, but I have to be in my masculine energy to run a business and lead stuff and, you know, I guess seek new opportunities and things like that. So it's not something that I won't give up because I'm still in my building phase in my career and the things that I want to do and the impact I want to make on this world and the impact I want to make in the technology, you know, and blockchain world as well. So it's definitely something I won't give up, but I'm definitely more feminine than I used to be. Before I didn't want to have kids. I didn't really care too much, you know, for relationships. I had commitment issues. I still do a little bit. And I think now I'm more about cannot wait to be a mom. I cannot wait to be a wife. I cannot wait to be more in my feminine energy.
Yeah.
Because I think a man should lead and a man should provide, protect, and you know, keep women safe. So I think what I mean by my masculine energy is very direct, very blunt, you know, controlling, dominant, all of those things, right?
Okay, sure.
Whereas a woman feminine energy is more like nurturing, caring, very emotional. We're like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Whereas you cannot be emotional in business, as you know. Otherwise, it's a disaster. So.
Got it. I hope when this
Yeah.
episode gets released and somebody hears these segments, while there would be certain people that would appreciate these views, I am assuming there will be certain trolls as well that will be coming in and
totally.
they're talking about, men are controlling, men are this, men are that, sure, man, and all that.
I mean, women are controlling, but I mean, you have to be controlling. You have to be very, very dominant and controlling when it comes to business.
Now, one of the encouraging things that I witnessed last year and this year as well, when I have taught to students in business schools in India, is that in a country like India as well, I'm witnessing that there is a rise of women students who want to learn business and enroll for business schools. So my classrooms are generally, the gender ratio is 50-50. What is an advice that you would like to give budding female entrepreneurs in order to best position themselves in navigating a male-dominated corporate environment?
I think, I did a talk not long ago about this specific topic, and I ruffled a few feathers in the audience, and I had a few hands up from my answer. And my answer is literally going to be the same as what I sent to this question is, if we keep thinking about the issue of women struggling in a male-dominant industry, and we keep thinking of the issue of the pay gap, we put ourselves in a very weak position, and all we start to do is just really focus on the issues, and we're not really solving anything. All we're doing is creating these little cults where we get together and talk about all these issues that women have, when we should be grateful with the position that we're in. We should be grateful for the mentors that we have. We should be grateful for the things that are happening in our lives and the career that we have and the things that we're striving towards. And I think I used to be a part of a lot of these groups, and I see what happens and I see what is continuing to happen, and it's not positive at all. All it is just bashing men, why men are so bad, why we're not getting invested in companies. We need to start focusing on that and start focusing on the positive, that women are still getting investors. Women are actually getting paid more than men. If you are working more than men, that is, because men actually work more hours than women, hence why they get paid more. And, there are plenty of women CEOs that I see and women founders that are doing amazing things in the technology world. And there's so many positive things happening that I see all the time, that women are driving fully by women. And I see so many VCs opening up funds and raising funds to invest into women companies. So there's lots and lots and lots of awesome things happening for women. So I think my answer is we need to stop focusing on the negative stuff.
Got it.
And creating these little cults.
Sure. Okay. No, because
it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Like, why are we even talking about this issue? It's just so dumb.
So your message more is,
to me,
I can understand. It's more like, just go about and give your best, and you'll get you'll achieve success. You'll get the recognition.
Absolutely. And if you don't, then that's okay too. Just keep. If it means so much to you, keep going.
Keep going.
Like, men suffer the same issue. They're struggling to get investors too. They're struggling with not getting paid more than other men and other women. Like, they have similar issues, but nobody talks about that, as much. So I just think, we like to complain about things that are not positively impacting the women founders / CEOs / corporate industry.
And look, there is some truth to what you have said, because let's take banking, for example. I mean, with banks, we often say that it's a male-dominated, industry, financial services. Macquarie Bank, one of the most powerful banks of Australia and worldwide, CEO is a woman. Years ago, the Westpac CEO was a woman. The most famous startup coming from Australia, Canva, is
Mel,
founded by Mel. So if you like, success would come to you. It doesn't see whether you're a female or a male, and I think that's a good positive message that you were giving out. So thanks for that. I want to ask you something about your relationship with money, because knowing your journey, your relationship with money would have evolved as well. So I'm curious, what has that evolution been, and what is your philosophy on material possessions versus freedom currently?
So freedom for me is number one, like, in every way possible. I think money is awesome, money is great, but I would choose freedom any day, always, 1,000 times over. that's just the type of individual I am. I think when I was a lot younger, I would definitely, be like money, 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 material items, products and lifestyle. But I think now the more at peace and still I am with myself and the things that I want and understanding myself more, freedom hands down.
Got it.
Yeah, for sure. I think, being tamed, especially if you're a creative like me or somebody that has a lot to give to the world or a lot to give in general, you just can't be tamed.
Yeah.
You need to have freedom to be able to do those things, that's for sure. But when you say materialistic, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like what advice would you like to give for me to give to people? What are you trying to get out of me?
No,
with that question?
I'm just curious to get your philosophy on material possessions now. Like,
okay.
Like I've got a Fight Club poster in my background, and the character Tyler Durden, while not till the extreme, but I think was a very philosophical character for the modern world, where he talks about masculinity, about material possession, and how, the more you buy, I liked his line, and I'll just quote what Tyler Durden said in Fight Club: the things that you own end up owning you. And I totally understand your journey, what you said, because that's the same thing with me. While, once upon a time, I used to have ambitions to get into AFR rich list under 40, or be, in these rich indexes, or be, one of these achievers. But after a matter of time, and after certain personal things that happened in my life with my family a few years back, my whole outlook about life changed. And now I started prioritizing freedom more. And that's why I do what I do now, that, hey, I'm comfortable with my life. I'm happy with whatever I've got in terms of resources. And what will really make me fulfilling is now to give back to part of my community. Being an Indian Australian, I know that Australia is high standard of living, but in India, we need to do a lot of things. And one way that I can do that is by providing education in the expertise that I've had. So that freedom is something that I value more than, I guess, material possessions of, having mansion in, Turek Park, or, having a mansion in Point Piper. I don't have those dreams anymore. It's more about living every day and seeing what impact that I can give. And I guess that's the freedom that you are also alluding to. So that's why I'm keen to, what do you mean by,
I understand what the question is. Yeah. Yeah, I think I have the same outlook, but I also believe that you should prioritize the things that make you feel good too. Like for me, I still enjoy my 5-star hotels. I still enjoy going out to fancy restaurants and getting dressed up in beautiful outfits and things like that. Like, because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel a type of way.
Yeah.
But I think, you just need to do things for the right reasons as well.
Absolutely.
Like I'm not really striving to make money to buy a Lamborghini or whatever, like that's not my priority. I think just stick to the priorities that make you feel a type of way too.
And I think that's
because you work so hard. Yeah.
I think the message that you've given is a good message, because it clearly distinguishes that there are certain things that you are doing, or certain activities or possessions that you're doing, that actually makes you happy, as opposed to making other perceive that you are happy. And there's a big difference between both.
Correct. Yeah. It's so sad to see people live for other people.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
But I think everybody goes through that journey. Like, I was also one of those individuals at one stage when my resources, and I was junior in my career. I think it comes down to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that the more you go on top, and when you reach that self-actualization, that you start focusing more on freedom and what gives you peace, rather than what other people might think.
Yeah, but I also think that it's important to have mentors to be able to teach you those things early on, so you don't necessarily need to go through that. Because people say to me all the time, oh, you're not going to learn until you go through it. And I'm like, well, I'd rather not go through it. Like, I'd rather have a mentor to guide me the right direction, so I can actually save a ton of time and do the right things, or be on the right path.
Yeah.
So it's important to have the right people around you.
Absolutely. Who's the most, who's been the most influential mentor for you?
Oh my gosh, so many people. I never really had a mentor.
Yeah.
I kind of self-taught a lot of the things on my own. But I would definitely say I've had a lot of amazing smart individuals around me. I've been very, very blessed with my connections and the people that I surround myself with. And I think what I did quite early on as well is I grew myself into to become a board member on companies, and a couple of them I just did for free, because I wanted to learn from the best And the only way to learn from the best is to throw yourself on boards.
Yeah.
And you're in these boardrooms with like the CEO of like Lenovo and like all these crazy individuals, and you're like learning so much. So I think that in itself, I learned so much by just everything I do now in my business, and everything I'll continue to do is from my board discussions with other companies and startups.
Got it. Now, we got connected probably a year ago because...
Was it a year ago?
Was it a year ago? Or was it more?
I feel like it was so long, like maybe like 10 years ago. I'm kidding. Maybe a year ago.
It's probably been a couple of years then. Like, it just feels like, time passes by quickly.
It does.
But yeah, it does feel like 10 years ago. Now, we both got connected though because of our interest in Web3 and blockchain technology. Yes. And so I'm curious to get your take at a high level, because Web3, AI, all these are hot frontier technologies at the moment that people like to talk about. Given your diverse background and years of entrepreneurial experience, how do you filter through business ideas, opportunity to select the ones where you should invest your time and energy in? What criteria matters the most to you?
This is such a good question. I talk about this all the time, like every single day, because I get pitched every single day from people on LinkedIn, on Messenger and WhatsApp, and I'm sure you get the same.
Yeah.
I know for me, I believe that every idea and every concept is good. It's amazing. I think every idea that comes to me is like, right, this is amazing. This sounds fantastic.
Sure.
The issue that I find that wouldn't necessarily work with the idea is the people. And what I invest into and what I believe in is the person that's running the company, operating the company, and backing the company. Because if that person has a track record of exiting a previous company or a track record of being in that particular industry that they're starting for many years, understanding the industry that they're wanting to build a product in, is what I would invest into and put my time into, because I've obviously done it. They've been in the industry for 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is. So I think the success of that would be much higher than somebody just, coming out of, uni or somebody that doesn't really have any experience or hasn't really got a track record in the tech space, wanting to just build a product because it's cool to have an app, and raise money.
Got it.
So yeah, it's definitely the people, always.
Sure.
Hands down.
So I'm in agreement with you there. And in 2021, I started my venture capital career and started investing in startups as an investor. It started in 2021. And my early education was that, because coming from an MBA background and, having worked in matured industries like banks and so forth, which have got processes, and the business is run more because of processes as opposed to startups where it's mostly how the founders would execute it. Mostly that, because startups don't necessarily have processes during the early stage. So one of the biggest education that I had when I started my investment career in venture capital as an angel investor as well is that what you said, invest in founders.
People.
Because all ideas would be great. How are they going to execute it? Are they going to be there? Are they going to quit? Are they going to persevere? Are they going to make shit happen? If they have that quality, that's how you invest. So totally agreement with you there. Most important criteria. Now,
always people.
I'm keen to understand, what would you tell the 20-year-old Belinda now to get the opportunity, having the experience that you've had so far? What would you tell the 20-year-old Belinda if you get the opportunity?
Oh my God, I would literally read everything Naval Ravikant put out.
Yeah.
And get onto his content early.
Yeah.
That would probably be the first thing I would do.
Sure.
And everything that Naval Ravikant said, I'll do and stick to consistently and never stop doing that one thing. And I won't go here, I won't go there, I won't go there, I won't go here. I'll just do one thing consistently until, it hits. And I think that's what most people get wrong, doing multiple different things. I think tasting a ton of stuff is amazing because it teaches you a lot, but people tend to forget choosing one thing and sticking to that one thing consistently. Oh my gosh, like tenfold.
So I'm curious, what is that one thing that you in your current world are focusing now?
So right now I'm in building phase. So we've got around 20 developers based in India, and we've also got vastly staying staff here in Australia, and we're building very cool products with really cool brands. We're also building our own ventures. Eventually, we want to sell a piece of that company off. We also want to open our own fund and start investing into early stage startups like pre-seed, seed,
Sure.
maybe Series A, and then obviously, build everything in with our own developers. And that's kind of the goal. And I want to stick to being in the technology realm because I just want to be a part of the journey forever. I want to be like 80 years old, sitting at a board, listening to this passionate 18-year-old pitching me a product. Like that for me makes me happy.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Probably when that would happen.
Like I get excited.
I mean, when we reach the age of 80, it may be droids that might be pitching us ideas at that time. Who knows? Artificial intelligence, robots are going, right?
Oh my gosh, don't talk to me about it. Oh my God.
Now, Belinda, thanks a lot for taking out your time. This was great. These were all the questions that I had, but I've got the final segment, which is called the rapid fire question round. And these are questions that warrants 1 to 3 word responses or yes or no responses.
Okay.
You can choose to pass some of them, but I think it would be playful if you answer all of them. And I think you would answer all.
I'll answer all.
And no pressure.
I'm a little rebel. I'll answer all of them.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, I'll start.
Go.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Sydney or Melbourne?
Melbourne.
I know you moved to Sydney, so that's why I put up this question. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dog.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Shit, that's hard. I mean, I don't know, Taken?
You love that Liam Neeson going there.
I've watched it so many times.
Got it. Netflix or movie in cinema?
Oh, Netflix.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Favorite podcast to listen to?
Favorite podcast? I feel like I should start listening to yours. That would be my favorite podcast.
You're very kind. Apart from my podcast.
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I listen to the CEO Diaries a lot.
Yes.
Only because he has really good guests.
Yes, I agree. CEO Diaries is something that I listen to as well. It's very insightful. Great guest. Early to rise or sleep in?
Younger, I was like sleep in. Now, early to rise.
Run outdoors or treadmills? Outdoors, absolutely. Are you...
Always.
Do you go to, now that you're in Sydney, do you go to the Bondi and Coogee walk?
Yeah, Bondi's just down the road.
That's amazing.
Literally like a 7-minute walk, Bondi Beach to eat.
So scenic.
Nice, yeah.
I was staying at Milson's Point and doing the walk, doing the run in the morning at Milson's Point.
The coastal,
doing the Sydney Harbor thing was amazing. And then, sometimes when I used to go to Bondi, that Bondi to Coogee walk is just amazing. Being at Bondi.
Oh, it's so good. And swim in the morning. Oh my God, 7 a.m. to watch the sun while swimming in the ocean is
absolutely
game changer.
I know. Generative AI, threat or opportunity?
It's really hard, opportunity, of course, massive, but I'm a bit like threatened by it recently.
Got it. Why?
I don't know. It's just like, I'm not skeptical. I think I love AI. I love everything that's happening in the space. I support it. I think it's a massive opportunity. But I listened to a podcast recently from the ex-Googler by the CEO Diaries. I don't know if you've listened to that podcast. It goes for like 2 hours and he talks a lot into what Google is doing. And I got like huge insights. And I just was like, holy shit, like this AI is serious. Like it's a serious thing.
To that episode, but
you should.
I'll listen to it.
You will love it.
I'll tell you one of the insights that I've got about how AIs work is that, yes, you're going to see massive productivity. There are people like the Stability Diffusion CEO went on record and said that in 5 years, there are not going to be any programmers. I believe that a lot of the tier 2 work of any profession, whether it's creative or whether it's management, consulting, problem solving, anything that is tier 2, I think within 5 years, we're going to see them being obsolete. I also agree with that. If the AI technology continues its progress the way it is progressing just now, and regulation doesn't hamper, or we do not get a black swan event with AI, if it just progresses the way it is, I think within 5 years, a lot of the tier 2 work, regardless of the profession within the digital realm and problem solving intellect realm, they're going to become obsolete. Right. So I think now is the time to really use these skills and also to build your brand as well, because
totally,
very
it's
important
huge opportunity.
Yeah.
there's huge opportunity for you and I.
Yeah.
But people,
Sure.
you know, like you said, you know, in other industries and you know, that have the jobs that, you know, it's just, it's, I mean,
I agree.
look, I hope it creates more opportunity for people to be able to, you know, do new things and new exciting careers. Absolutely. I can so see that happening. I just don't know how much.
Yeah.
I don't know how much opportunity it will allow for humans to be a part of, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with your assessment there.
Yeah.
Last two rapid fire questions. Favorite music to train to?
Oh, like hard rap.
Hard rap.
Yeah, like Travis Scott, like Kanye West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see Belinda releasing her own rap album or a rap single?
No, never. I don't sing to this stuff. I just train to it. Oh my gosh.
Well, you've got auto-tune and AI as well now. Just feed your voice. I'm gonna try it.
Oh my God, I should totally do it.
Totally like jam, and I do not know how to sing, but feed the voice, auto-tune it, or sing what it does. Lastly, your favorite cheat meal.
Cheat meal. Oh my God, anything Italian.
Anything Italian.
Tiramisu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love tiramisu.
I do. I eat it all the time.
Awesome. Belinda, thanks a lot. Like, I really enjoyed this conversation with you. This was amazing. Would love to have you back again when you get time. But I think this podcast episode really gave people an insight of what Belinda's journey's been. And you're such an icon, especially in Australia. And hopefully through this podcast, people in New York, NYU, and India also get to know who Belinda is, what made her go from 0 to 100 now as an entrepreneur. So thanks a lot for doing this. And thanks.
No, thank you. Thank you for allowing this platform to happen, to share to the community.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Shiv.